California Trail Center, folks. My name is Dave. For the next 5 to 5.5 months and 2,000 miles, I'm going to be your wagon master. First stop on our long journey is Caleb's Gun Shop. Every man, woman, and child over the age of 12 is required to have a gun on this trail for 2 reasons: hunting and self-protection. These are the guns we take with us. It's a real 54 caliber Hawken rifle. The gun takes exactly 1 week to make, will cost you around $20 a piece. But in 1852, $20 is almost 2 months' wages. In fact, the average wage in Missouri in 1852 is less than $3 a week, which turned out to be $150 a year. And that's a lot of money to these folks. Average cost for a family of 6 is $1,200 to $1,500. These folks will sell everything, and I mean everything they have except the clothes off their backs. Some of these folks will even work in Missouri for over 4 years to save the money to go. Some will even pool their money with other wagons. Now when I mean pool, resources is as good as money, isn't it? But folks, one way or another, from the year 1838, when the Army Corps of Engineers finished mapping the trail, to the year 1914, you heard me correctly, 1914, when the last wagon came through Montpelier here going to Oregon, over 500,000 people will make that journey. Over 80,000 people will die on this trail. We will lose over 100 animals every 100 miles. That's the reality of the Oregon-California Trail. This wagon is brand new. Every wagon we take with us on our journey will be identical to this for one reason only. If it breaks down, we have the parts to fix it. Brand new, this wagon will cost you $100. This wagon weighs 1,500 pounds empty. You can put 1,500 pounds of your personal belongings and food to go to Oregon. The first 1,000 pounds you put on this wagon will be food. The name of this wagon is called the Studebaker Farm Wagon. What's the nickname for this fine wagon?
Prairie schooner.
Prairie schooner. What kind of animal do you want to use to pull this fine wagon with? Why?
You can eat them.
You can eat them.
Just like grass and water.
Because they stay healthy.
You know, there's a lot of good reasons to take ox, ain't there? In fact, there's over 100 good reasons, but there's 4 major ones. Number 1, ox are very strong and very stubborn, aren't they? As long as you lead them, they'll follow you until you die, they die, or you stop. Number 2, they do not have to stop and graze on the trail like a mule or a horse. How many stomachs does an ox have? 4. So they'll feed at night and morning. They're fine all day long. Third, probably most important reason to most folks is cost. A good mule or a horse will cost you $40 to $60 a piece. An ox is going to cost you $20. You're required to have at least 4, but no more than 6. That's a big cost savings. Now the 4th reason is very simple yet very important, but most people don't even think about. What would that be?
The Indians didn't want to steal them.
Exactly right. Indians will not steal your ox. They steal your horses or your mules, but don't like ox. They're too slow. Now, this is where I get to step out of cage for just a minute and tell you folks a little bit about us and our museum. We're not just any ordinary museum. We left the gun shop and came to a room, sat on the bench, didn't we? Underneath our feet was a dirt floor, wasn't it? That is the Oregon Trail.
Very cool.
19 years ago, when we the citizens decided to build this museum dedicated to the Oregon Trail, folks, we didn't want to build our museum just any old place. We wanted to build ours on an original trail stop. Ours just happened to be called Clover Creek, present-day Montpelier, Idaho. You folks are now going to time travel for 4.5 minutes for 1,100 miles. When that wagon stops and you get off, you will be standing on the same dirt and soil the immigrants and pioneers walked on in the 1800s. You'll also be standing in the only, and I do mean only, 100% documented campsite left on the Oregon Trail called Clover Creek. We actually have the original campsite inside the building where we can protect it.
Exactly 1,100 miles on your journey so far, so you're a little over halfway. The next 900 miles are pure mountains, however, so you'll want to be stopped here in Clover Creek for about 3 days.
Oregon or bust!
There it goes. There it goes. I'm standing in front of Geyser Springs, and we were fortunate enough to just see it erupt a few moments ago.
Traveled along the bank of the Bear River and are encamped at Soda Springs. This is indeed a curiosity. The water tastes like soda water, especially artificially prepared. The water is bubbling and foaming like boiling water. I drank of it. We find it excellent for baking bread. No preparation of water is necessary. Take it from the fountain and the bread is light as any prepared with yeast.
So if you look down here, this is Octagon Springs, located in Soda Springs, Idaho. You see the water coming right out of the ground is all carbonated. I was told by the local sheriff that you can actually drink out of this one so long as you take a deep enough draw, because this one is actually constantly cleaning itself out. So here goes nothing. Cap on to prevent any junk from coming in. Yep, going deep. Okay, I'm capping it so I don't bring up any kind of nasty stuff. Carbonated water right there, Aquafina. Taste test.
How's it taste?
Salty? Like seltzer water.
Really?
Yeah, that's not bad. Look, it fizzes.
Try some Seagram Seppin. That's seltzer water.
It is, seltzer
Yeah.
water.
Want to try it? Pretty good. Surprise. Just add vodka.
Yeah.
Kettle one. Excellent. That's great.
Hey. Tastes like metal.
There we go.
Well, it
Smells like metal.
It's safe to drink.
Well, I'm sure there's some iron in it. You can see the reddish color. Better than sulfur.
Tastes like old well water.
You want to try this while I'm down here?
It's carbonated, but I don't like the taste of it.
You want to try it while I'm down here?
Hooked up to Fort Hall and came down here. We came around because I wanted to see Register Rock. We could have taken what's called the Hudspeth cutoff and kept on going over to the City of Rocks, but we kind of detoured, as some immigrants would have done, to get resupplied or get some repairs done to their wagons. This right here is the final parting of ways. Beyond this point, you're either going to California or you're going to Oregon, period, unlike the previous one that we were at. So it is kind of sad though that there's absolutely no trace of it whatsoever. So I'm glad that we stopped yesterday where we did.
Yeah, really. If I go to Oregon, you go to Oregon.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3. Oh, shit.
Oh, this was the Eagles' Ah!
I'm going to California.
Oh, I gotta go to Oregon. I'm banished.
So I noticed this is Tent City over here. And if you look at Don's area, it takes up the most space. I was evicted early on in this whole process.
Is that why you're our neighbor now?
Yeah.
Well, the property value's better over there.
Are the uptowners giving us grief for being downtown?
I think so.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Bread Loaves here at the City of Rocks, our home for the night. What are these girls doing?
Oh man, they're making potatoes. I can't wait.
Bee stings!
That's quite the bar we got there, isn't it?
Damn straight. It's a Cowboy Bar.
Margarita mix.
It's a what?
Cowboy Bar! Because you know, all cowboys had margarita mix and
No. Do you need anything?
Bloody Mary mix.
Bloody Mary mix.
And ice. They had a lot
And
of ice.
ice.
They did. They were at this ice loop.
Now there's a reason why all of us are still alive today after traveling across all these miles, right?
We haven't run out of whiskey yet.
That's right, we haven't run out of the medicine that keeps us alive. Without the power of whiskey, we'd succumb to cholera by now.
That's right.
Looking to the future and to the west, California or bust! Woo!
That shot of honey had a bite.
That was a bee sting.
That one takes you back.
That stung.
What's on your bed? Do you have any requests?
Stairway to heaven.
Dude looks like a lady.
How about orange blossom special?
Okay, whatever you got.
Okay. You know it's got to be slow and
Slow and trail worthy.
Yeah.
I'm making beef hash, immigrant style, from an original recipe.
How is it?
It's outstanding. This is better than any hash I've ever had. Immigrant hash.
$18.49.
What are you seeing, Stephanie?
Elephant Rock.
So you
So-
see the elephant?
I see the elephant. Oh, no, yes, I do see the elephant.
The head and the eye.
Yeah.
And then the back.
Okay, I see it. Like it's coming at us. That's
Yeah,
kind of an angle.
exactly.
rock. You see the eyeball?
See, they're all seeing the elephant.
We see the elephant.
The elephant. Time to stop.
At the entrance of the pass was a pleasant little spring and fine branch. You know, I'm just envisioning those wagons just trudging along and the people walking next to them, and you know, the oxen pulling those things just coming through there. And we're right on that same exact path. That is just, it's just amazing.
It's
Really
kind of cool. When you looked at the mountain range, you could see how tall everything was, and right here was kind of a low saddle. And I mean, this is obviously the only way they could come. But yeah, I mean, to think wagons being pulled by oxen, just got led up this exact same path that we're on right now. We're on our way up and over Granite Pass. This is still on the very southern edge of Idaho. We're almost ready to pop into Utah.
Lifters or push rods.
Sounds like
or
a
something
lifter.
like that.
Yeah.
Back in here. It's not forward.
No. In the bell housing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, transmission.
Yeah, right here. When my ear gets right here, it's the loudest right here. I don't hear it as loud here.
Yeah. Flywheel making contact with
Could be a flywheel.
yeah.
Could be a cracked flywheel.
So the nice brand new transmission I put in like 5,000 miles ago, it sounds like it's having some issues. So we'll go ahead and get to our destination for today, let it cool down, and see what we can find tomorrow.
Atari. We're that much closer to our destination, California. We're all still together, so it's all good. Cheers.
You can move it, yeah.
Oh my God, Really?
Yeah.
That's your noise right there, man.
Yep. See it right there.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Holy
It's actually moving around. I'm glad you didn't drive it like this.
Me too.
That bolt comes out and you have a grenade situation.
Yep.
Destroy everything in there. Yep. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. So after you make your right turn, we're on the old California Trail, original length of trail. Okay, so I stopped you guys here for a moment because we are actually on an original length of California Trail. This area is actually a fine example of how after the immigrants worked their way through here, the Transcontinental Railway came through here, the interstate is right out there, and as some of you have known and I've told you before, even the first Transcontinental Airway Beacons are along this route as well. In front of us you will see a piece of insulator that was used on a lot of the telegraph poles, like what you would have seen along like the power lines out there. These were like the original insulators that they used on the power lines, or mainly the telegraph poles. In this area, the Transcontinental Railway came through before they got realigned closer to I-80.
So as Eddie just explained to me, this is a pin that would go on the post, and then the cross beam would go on, and then the insulator comes up and goes on the, actually it's this way, goes up on the wood post to hold it up. Then there's another wire that goes around the insulator that actually ties the telegraph wire to the pole, so it stays insulated.
So the area that we're standing in right now, this whole mountain range that you see in front of us, this is known as Stony Point. Just on the other sides of these tracks right here is an area called Hot Springs, and a creek that you'll see water as we come around this bend. It's called Rock Creek. That feeds into the Humboldt River. This area right here was a popular camping spot for pioneers making their way around the California Trail. At this particular point in 1857, there was a very large group of people camped out here, a wagon train on their way to California, and they got attacked by Indians. It's actually one of the biggest massacre sites that they have had along this length of trail, or the entire trail actually. The interesting thing was, it was miles later, almost towards California, that another group of people that were on the same trail noticed artifacts or articles that people had that belonged to people they knew, and they realized that these people were carrying stuff from their friends and relatives. It turns out that it wasn't an Indian raid after all, although there might have been some Indians involved in it. It was mostly white people dressed up as Indians, and they're the ones who carried out the attack, and this is actually the site where it had happened. Back in the 1920s, when people were starting to fly more and more airplanes, it was decided by the government that it would be useful to have an airmail system connecting East Coast to West Coast to help make navigation possible before the advent of radar, autopilot, things like that. The only way they could get from point A to point B was very similar to what the immigrants had to do by saying, oh, this is Independence Rock, and over there is Split Rock, and over there is whatever point is next, Oregon Buttes. Those were visible waypoints. So what was installed in the ground, one about every 10 miles, sometimes less depending on the terrain, was a set of concrete arrows, much like what you see right here. These were established, most of them about 1924 to 1929. This particular one would have had a tower that stood 50 feet tall. And because there's no runway around it, it would have had a light shining east to west, plus an additional 2 red beacons saying that there's no landing strip here. These are pretty rare to find nowadays. I've been looking all over the deserts trying to find them, and here you are. This is what it looks like. Wow. It's very cool. All along the Humboldt River, you have what are called sloughs. They're where the river had once flowed back and forth, and just a muddy mess. At this point, the Donner Reed party forded the Humboldt River to come up to Iron Point, which is what you see in front of us. As they were pulling their wagon trains out, I guess James Reed cut off one of the guys in the pack, and he got pissed off, pulled out a bullwhip and started whipping him. And he got pissed off, pulled out a knife, and stabbed him. This guy died. James Reed got banished from the group at this point. He got sent off. They wanted to string him up, but fortunately a few people, his family included, convinced the rest of the group to let him go. The crazy thing is that he caught up to the scouting party up ahead and eventually made it all the way to California without a problem. Whereas the rest of the Donner party, well, they had a few problems. It was actually James Reed who came back later to help rescue the Donner Party, which is kind of a little twist of irony, right? You saw? Nobody's gonna hit it. He has a cut on his head, and he's bleeding a little bit from the top of his head. And a little out of the mouth. But he is conscious and he is talking to us.